Okay, so my first segment was just a lead-in or an introduction into what I want to cover. What I want to talk to you about today is ladies, and I am speaking to the ladies because I do find, and of course this applies to men too, but I do find that women are unkind to each other, and I want to speak to the women about the way they treat each other. We really need to look at how we're treating each other certainly affects the working environment, and it can affect it in a negative way. I mean, very negative. And I understand that some women, and there are just some women who are targets. Okay, so how do you feel about your coworkers? Why do you treat your coworkers poorly? Or why are they a nuisance? Is it easy to lash out at them because you don't have any rapport with them, you don't have a relationship with them, you're sort of disconnected with them or from them, so maybe it is easy to lash out at somebody that you have no personal connection with. But if that's the case, and of course I'm not quite sure how some of you are going to respond, but my thought on this is that we need to look at the way we behave at work, the way we treat our coworkers, because everything that we do, there's a domino effect. And if we want to be working in a good environment, in an environment that builds morale, in an environment that builds leadership, in an environment that where we're giving our knowledge, or it's an exchange of knowledge, it's helping each other grow, we have to do something. We have to change. We have to look at the people we work with differently. We have to look at ourselves differently. We have to look at the way that we approach things or the way that we manage issues differently. I certainly think that women in general are very judgmental, are quite harsh, but women are also very sensitive and easily hurt. And sometimes hurt is the driving force behind some of the behavior. But the fact of the matter is if you do not let somebody in on what it is that they've done to offend you, to upset you, to cause a breakdown in communication, then you're doing them and yourself a disservice. You're not allowing the issue to be to really be resolved. You're just adding on to it. You're making the problem bigger. And these problems can go on for years, at least for as long as you're working with that person. And I've been in situations where I've worked with people for years and it has been uncomfortable. It's been more of a sparring match. It's been more of, who got who today. It's an unkind, nasty environment to be in. And I personally do not thrive in that kind of environment. I have tried to wrap my head around it. I find that direct communication is one of the best ways to approach it, but you have to be very cautious with your delivery, and even with your questioning. A lot of times you have to be in the right frame of mind, so you cannot have the conversation. You cannot have the conversation at the time that the argument or disagreement happens. You can, however, have the conversation in a day or two. You should always write down the situation, the fact of the matter. Not necessarily what was said or done, but what is the source? What was the driving source behind the disagreement or the exchange? I have found that as being we're always on the delivery end. We are always giving somebody information. we don't know how that person is perceiving it. We don't even know how we're being perceived unless you record yourself and then you pay attention to your body language and you listen to your tone of voice, and you start to become aware of how you potentially could be received. I find that paying attention to myself, watching myself on video, is helpful in how the other person might perceive me. But a more direct way to take that to the next level is to, when you have the conversation with the person, and make sure that the conversation with that person is done in private, or take them to lunch. Do it in a way where it's not confrontational, where you're both on a level playing field, where there isn't an audience. Do not do it in the middle of the office. Sometimes that is kind of an arena where, you know, they've already have a group of other employees who may be cheering for them. So if you do some kind of conversation in that arena, the outcome is going to be negative. It's not going to give you the kind of results that you want. So you have to do this kind of thing in private. The other thing that you have to do is, instead of telling them immediately how you felt about what it was that they said or did, how about asking them first? You know, this happened, such and such, you know, what did you mean by that? Where were you going? What was your intention? What did you want me to get from it? Because you may have misunderstood what they wanted to tell you, or what they were trying to say. And a lot of times, depending on what's going on in any part of the day, we can always, depending on our emotion, we can read something inaccurately. So I think that this is a very important piece. I think having the conversation, having it in private, asking them what it is that they were trying to say, giving them an opportunity to explain it, and then you can decide whether you want to tell them how you took it, or if their explanation is acceptable, then you'll also be able to see whether you jumped to the gun a little bit by taking it in a negative way, because it may not have been intended that way at all. This is a process, though. This is not something that happens overnight and is fixed overnight. This is a process. People that we work with, a lot of times we're going to be working with them for a number of years. We can be working with them for the rest of our career. So I think learning how to communicate with each other is vital to our happiness. It's vital to us being able to be successful. So this is just a little snippet, a little idea, a little bit of information on how to handle this, these situations that arise at work. I really am interested in hearing what you have to say. I really am interested in hearing what you have going on, because I would like to, if I have like information and if I think I have something of value to offer, I will certainly offer it to you, to help you navigate these waters as well, because it can be, relationships are hard, and relationships that work relationships are significant. We're always going to have them. So I think being able to have good working relationships is important to our mental health. I think our mental health can be certainly weighed down at work if we don't have really good working relationships with people. So anyway, thank you so much for your time. I look forward to your comments. Like I said, I'm going to try to do snippets. I talk a lot. So have a great day, and I'll be back with another a piece of information, and hopefully you'll find it useful. And please give me your feedback on everything, because I want to be able to be concise, get right to the point, get to the meat of the matter, and give you exactly what you need so that we can have good working relationships out there. Thanks again. Have a great day.